in my work with couples, I often hear people say, but we can't quit our lives, right? The expectation or the assumption is that for any change in the right direction to happen, that is what's required, that is what's necessary. So if you've ever wondered the same thing, and if you've convinced yourselves that that's what's needed for the two of you to get on the same page about certain things or get better together in your relationship, in your marriage, this video is for you. I want to share with you, and I came across this concept, I don't remember how long, but listening to a podcast or video, I can't even remember how I came across it, but I've since applied it both in my business and I'll tell you what the result was there, but I've also taught my couples to do this and helped them break this crazy idea that they believed in, right? That the only way that their marriage would be able to be up leveled is if they, right, all of a sudden both could quit their jobs and somehow become independently wealthy, if they could send their kids off to boarding school because they have however many under the age of 15, right? That at the age of 42 they would pack up their family and move to an island where they could be isolated and just, right, have no distractions, sort of remove all of that noise from their lives. All of these things are not true. They're it's a lie. The rule of 100 is, and in the original podcast or what have you, it was tied to, they were talking about business and they were talking about just things that you want to learn. And the premise of it is that if you give something 100 hours of your time and your energy and your effort, you will be 90% better than all the other people that are trying to do the same thing, right? So it applies to learning how to play the flute or the violin, right? It applies to learning a new foreign language. It applies to here's how I want to get better at organizing our house or cleaning the bathroom in a different way, or taking our dogs out on a walk, right? With more frequency or with more consistency, whatever it may be. In business, right? What is it that I'm wanting to grow my ability to do? What is it that I want to become more comfortable with? And can I give it? This is what I want to invite you to do. Can you give it 100 hours of your time and effort and love and care, right? Like the TLC sort of way of, can we look at your marriage and just give it that? Breaks all those assumptions about what we think, right, is necessary that I talked about a little bit ago. And when you spread out, right, when you look at 100 hours, you do the math at 6,000 minutes, you do the math and it ends up being a little over 16 minutes every day. For you to get better than 90% of the people that are trying to accomplish the same thing is giving it 100 hours of your time and effort and trying and paying attention to it, right? 16 minutes a day. So I have since, and like I said, I used it in my business, and it grew my business by almost 50%. And then I was like, okay, this has got to somehow, right? If this applies to all of these other things, there's no doubt that this would apply to what we're trying to do in our marriages, what I'm trying to help my couples do when they come and see me. And so I started teaching this concept of the rule of 100 and explaining to my couples that it, right, when we think, oh, it's going to take like a month in Hawaii for us to get reigniting the original love or whatever, I'm being silly, but right, that it would take this huge chunk of our time or huge chunk of our life, right, that we would have to essentially just give up on whatever life we were living, because that's the only way to get to that outcome. When in reality, it's 16 minutes, right? Not even a half an hour. Not even like if somebody would have asked me that question, I would have been like, I don't know, an hour 2 a day to get really good, right, at something. And when you look at the really good people, they probably do that, right? Like the Olympics just happened, right? All the really good people are there and they do that then to 8 hours a day, or I don't even know what it is for most people, right? That's what they do. That's what they dedicate their time, their energy goes there, their effort, all of it goes to that. For you to move your marriage from point A, where you are now, to point B, that would end up being 90% better than anybody else that's trying to do the same thing. 16 minutes is what that takes in one day. When I offer that to my couples, sometimes they're kind of in disbelief, like that can't be enough, that can't be true, right? Like this can't be it. How would this work, right? We do other things that right, we spend so much more time on. And yeah, we do. We spend our time on other things. Like we sleep more than that, we work more than that, and we probably watch more than that in TV time or Netflix thing, whatever it is that you do, right? Most people exercise more than 16 minutes a day. Most of us take more than 16 minutes a day to eat our food, right? All of the things that are like, oh, okay. So when I talk to them about it, not every couple will sort of, right, the activity that you choose, it doesn't overlap necessarily, right? I don't have one thing that I say, okay, this is how you two need to spend your 16 minutes. That's not the point. The point is for you to figure out, and maybe it's 5 different things over the week, and you just go sort of on rotation, or you literally assign something to Mondays, some other thing to Tuesdays, right? Something else to Saturdays, and the rest of the week the same way. And but the key is that you, right, that you buy into that, and then you pay attention to it, and you make sure that this is what, like, we're gonna do this. Let's give this a try. We've tried all sorts of other things, right? And with either no result or limited result, what's the worst that can happen? You're gonna have spent 16 minutes with your spouse doing something that's meaningful to either at least one of you, ideally to both of you, right? Doing an activity, spending your time together in some way, having a conversation. One of the most basic ones is, right, if they don't know how to address certain pain points with one another, I'm like, just practice it. If you were to just practice that every day for 16 minutes, right? Or if their biggest pain point is we just cannot find or haven't been able to find time to spend time together, right? And it's been 5 years, it's been 10 years, it's been 25. Wherever you fall on that spectrum, we haven't, that's been the hardest for us. So then I say, go use that time, spend 16 minutes together, take turns deciding what you do every day, find one activity that you both really enjoy, and go do it every day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be sort of extravagant. It doesn't have to be original even. It doesn't have to be sort of mind-blowing to anybody, and including you, right? It just needs to be a consistent effort put forth towards this thing that we both really, really care about. 16 minutes. The rule of 100. If you've never heard of it, I invite you to give it a try. And even if you don't do it for a whole year, I invite you to give it a try for 30 days or 90, but even 30 days. If you just set yourselves out, right, to be like, okay, let's do it the next month, starting on the 1st. Let's just do it for the month and see where we are. And I would love to hear. So if you want to come back, let me know in the comments how that goes. What you learned, what you've noticed, what's been happening. I would love to hear. If you are one of those people that when you heard me say that's troublesome for us. We don't know how to initiate conversation, or when to do it, or how to do it the best way, how to bring up when we do have pain points that kind of just get ignored a little bit more often than not, right? And not really discussed, not really covered, we don't clear the air enough. I do have a video that where I will teach you how to do that, and if that's something that sounds intriguing and like something that you could use, I invite you to go check it out, and I'll see you in there.